I don't know about you guys, but growing up, I always felt like I was the main character. You know that feeling, right? When you watch movies and you see Brad Pitt, Ryan Gosling, James Bond, Batman, and you just think, yeah, that's me. That's who I'm gonna be. That's who I'm supposed to be. The guy who walks into rooms, commands attention, the leader, the one who goes against the grain, does things differently. The guy that everyone just wants to be around. I used to have that energy. Man, I used to believe I was destined for greatness. But then I got comfortable. I got into a relationship. I stopped training, started eating like shit. I thought I could just coast on gym sessions while my diet was going to shit. And slowly, without even realizing it, I let that fire inside me die. I stopped being the main character in my own life and became an NPC. Basically, just a background character, watching other guys live the life that I used to think was mine. And if you're watching this, bro, and it's hitting, I see you because I've been exactly where you are. The wake up call for me came when I just looked in the mirror one day. Without even realizing it, I was 30 kilos heavier, soft around the edges, no jawline, just a double chin, just invisible. And it hit me. I didn't look like any one of those guys that I used to want to be. I was far from Brad Pitt, not Ryan Gosling, not Jason Statham, not James Bond. I was far from it. I looked like every other guy who'd just given up on himself, who settled for just good enough. I was just doing the bare minimum, thinking that somehow that would make me exceptional. Going to the gym but eating garbage, telling myself I was working on it while making zero real changes. And the worst part, I was just lying to everyone, including myself. I was telling my ex I'd take her on dates, plan these getaways, but they never followed through. I kept breaking promises left, right, and center. And she lost respect for me. And she should have. Because a man is only as good as his word. And my word meant nothing. And that's when I realized I wasn't just out of shape. I was out of integrity with myself. Now, my brother, probably at the same time, he was going through the same thing. We'd both basically just gotten obese, comfortable, soft. But he made a decision that changed both of our lives without him even knowing it. He decided to run a marathon. Now, neither of us were runners, like far from it. We hated cardio. But he just said, fuck it, I'm doing something hard. Something that only 1% of people never accomplish. And so I watched him train for months, watched the weight melt off, watched him transform, not just physically, but mentally. And when he crossed that finish line, something clicked for me. If my brother, who was in the same place I was, could do that, well, why the fuck couldn't I? Why not me? Why couldn't I prove to myself that I was still capable of greatness? And it was that very moment I made a decision that changed everything. I signed up for my first marathon. Didn't know how it was going to turn out, but I was scared shitless. Never would have dreamt of even doing more than 5Ks. And look, the training was brutal, man. I was scared shitless. 42 kilometers on feet. But you know what? I didn't negotiate with myself. I just did it. And something amazing started happening. The weight started melting off. I started seeing my jawline again. You know, my heart felt better. I had more focus, more energy. I felt alive again. But the real breakthrough came when I crossed that finish line. That moment when I realized, holy shit, I actually did it. I put my mind to something that only the top 1% of people actually accomplish in their lifetime, or not even in their lifetime. And I just fucking did that. And that's when my unshakable belief in myself came back. Because if I could become a top 1% marathon finisher, I could translate that into other areas of my life. Relationships, career, business, dating, everything. That finish line didn't just end a race, it brought back the main character that I used to be. And look, I'm not saying you have to run a marathon. You don't have to go as crazy as we did. But you need something. You need some challenges that force you to prove to yourself that you're still capable of greatness. Because here's what I learned, right? You can't think your way back to being the main character. You've got to earn that shit. You have to do something that only the top 1% would do. Even if you don't get there, you just have to just try. You need to do something that makes you look at yourself in the mirror and just think, fuck, I'm actually that guy. And for me, it started with getting my health right. Because if you were the richest person in the world, right? Think about this. If you were the richest guy in the world, you had all the money, and I took away your health, all you'd be thinking about is getting it back. Your health is your foundation. Everything else just builds from there. When you take care of your body, your mind gets stronger. And when your mind gets stronger, your soul feels alive again. You become magnetic. Your aura becomes attractive. And then everything in life just starts manifesting the way you've always envisioned it. That main character that used to be, he's not gone, bro. He's not gone. He hasn't gone anywhere. He's just buried under years of comfort and broken promises. You don't need to find him. You just need to dig him out. And it starts with one decision, one challenge, one promise to yourself that you will ultimately not break. You see, I went from feeling like a fraud, a liar, a loser, to knowing and becoming undeniable. Because here's the thing, you can't question someone who's put in the work when the results show how much you've proven to yourself that you're capable of anything. And that's when you become the main character again. And now I'm constantly seeking challenges, high rocks races, started taking up some boxing again, hopefully preparing for a fight very soon. That's one of my goals this year, is to do my first fight. You know, basically just becoming the guy who doesn't back down anymore, the guy who keeps his word, the guy who lives the main character he always knew he was. And look, if you're sitting there and you're thinking about the man that you used to be, the fire that you used to have, it's time to stop watching other guys live your life. Book a call. Links in the description. Let's bring back the main character that you've been hiding. Because let's face it, the world doesn't need another NPC. We don't need any more. It needs leaders. It needs main characters. And that's exactly what you're about to become again. Drop a comment if this hit. And let me know what made you realize you stopped being the main character. And guys, like this if you're ready to reclaim your edge. And lastly, subscribe if you want more real talk, real, raw, genuine, authentic talk like this about just becoming an undeniable man again. Because straight up, your comeback starts today. Let's go, let's get it, let's conquer. Catch you guys in the next one.